have listened to the call before, welcome back. And for those of you who are listening for the first time, we'd like to welcome you. You are going to hear some pretty exciting information over here. And for those of you who are new, Reliv is a food science company based right here in the U.S. in St. Louis. And the products are changing people's lives, and people start to share it, and it changes their finances as well because of what these products do. But today, in this world, all of us seem to be touched with people in our lives who are dealing with cancer issues. It's become very prevalent, and people often, they're overwhelmed and confused about which path to go. And today we have 4 people who are going to share their story of hope and survival with cancer. Some have chosen to do Reliv with other forms of treatment, and some have not. But the reality is what is going on in their life. So I am so excited to have our speakers on today. And first I'm going to go over to Marcia Jantz in Oklahoma City. And Marcia, I know you have had just an incredible story. And if you could share with everybody how Reliv has come in and changed your life over the years, it'd be great to hear it.
Well, thank you. It's always a joy and an honor for me to share what's happened with me. I so love Reliv, that's for sure. And my background is my husband was in ministry. I worked alongside him. But 5 years prior to hearing about Reliv, I had been to doctor's nutritionist, and I was not finding results. I knew I had out-of-control hormones. I just wanted to sleep at night. I'd also been on my knees praying for our finances. We were paying our bills, but we had no cash flow, and we desperately needed something to bring in some cash. So my husband hosted a conference, and a man from North Carolina attended, shared Reliv with my husband, and he got very intrigued with the stories that he was hearing, how people were getting results on these products, and also making a lot of income. And so we came in at that highest profit level and started on the products at the same time. We took the distributor guarantee of a 90% one-year money back to heart, and we decided to give this a try. I was asked to be on the products for 90 days, was told that's how long it takes your bodies to build new cells. So I said, okay, I can do anything for 90 days. Started in, and I saw great results within a short period of time with restless leg syndrome. Headaches I lived with all the time went away. Thin-day medication for allergies, arthritis in my hands, ankles, and toes was so much better. I could make a really tight fist, could walk down the hallways without my ankles giving out on me. But stayed on those products, and 4.5 months in, I was sleeping through the night. All along the way, though, we were sharing Reliv with other people, and we were generating about $1,000 a month, 6 months into the business. I went to the doctor, had a routine physical. My pap smears kept coming back abnormal, and with more testing, I was diagnosed with advanced stages of endometrial cancer. I'd had it 5 to 7 years. It just gone undetected. It was in the advanced stages, and they scheduled surgery 3 weeks away from that day. Well, a lot of things happen to you when you've been told that, but one thing I absolutely know for sure, that these products were working for me. So I got amazing results in my health, even though I had full-blown cancer. So, you've heard it say that if you want to be with somebody else and their success, you go to them, ask them what did they do to get there. Will they help you get there too? And, of course, in Reliv, we have a wonderful system that we plug into that helps us do that. So I started doing what other people did that got great results that had cancer, and I flooded my body with the products. Did go and have surgery for cancer 3 weeks later. A few days after, the surgeon walked in the hospital room, and that's a day I'll never forget because this is what he told me. You are a very blessed lady. When I opened you up, I expected to find cancer, but I was surprised because what I found instead, the cancer was contained. So with the surgery, you are cancer-free, and there is no cancer follow-up. And I'll tell you what, that was an incredible day in my life. I'm so very, very grateful that a man we didn't know took time to share Reliv with us. I've been cancer-free for over 8 years. I love these products that keep me going day in, day out. I will always be on these products. But, I'm just as grateful for the business. We desperately needed that cash flow. And that year, even going through cancer and surgeries and all the trauma that surrounds that, we still brought in $15,000. That changed our lives. We were able to buy a very used fifth wheel and got to to go camping once in a while, just get away from work. That was good for us and our staff, and gave us a little bit of hope that maybe we could do this business. The next year just kept doing what I was doing. I had a goal to get away from my job, and the second year into the business, I walked away from my job and spent a little more time with this new business we had. And that year, we brought in $36,000. We knew we had a hold of something that was helping a lot of people, and that's where our heart and our passion has always been. We've been doing this business now 9 years. The last 3 years, we've averaged over $85,000 a year. We are stepping it up. I tell you what, my husband and I are talking to a lot of new people. There's people out there that need these products and need this business, and we love Relive and love the opportunity to make good friends.
Well, Marcia, thank you so much for sharing your story. 9 years being cancer-free, what a blessing. And I know that you will never give up your Relive, that's for sure. So
right.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Really, it was great to have you on. Next, I'm going to go over to a good friend of mine in Chicago. Her name is Terry Darrow, and Terry had actually struggled with colon cancer. And Terry, if you could share what your life was like and how Relive changed what your life was like, it would be great to hear your story.
Oh, would love to do that. Hi, folks. I've been on Relive for over 22 years, and kind of like the Janses, we were looking at Relive for the business side of things, but being a physical therapist, being very interested in natural remedies, I told my husband I couldn't do this unless I really believed in it. And so we got on the products, got our family on the products. At the time, I was struggling with horrible fatigue, and it felt like I was sick constantly with colds and flus, probably most of the year, the 2 years before Relive. And I could fall asleep sitting up at a stop sign. Got on Relive. In 2 months, severe hypoglycemia cleared up. I didn't have to follow that diet anymore. In 4 months, my allergies were so good, I actually played with a cat, and I used to get asthmatic around cats. I couldn't possibly touch one. 6 months in, a lot of the female issues cleared up, the irritable bowel cleared up. I had added 2 hours onto my day, and my immune system perked up, and I stopped getting sick. And that was important, of course, because I was diagnosed with cancer, colon cancer, at 40, and I had been on the product for several years. And when they found my cancer, it too was encapsulated, meaning that my body had grown a protective covering over it. It was beginning to reverse itself. They decided to do chemo and radiation as a preventative, which was disastrous for me. I had a lot of very severe side effects, including severe chemical burning. I couldn't eat or drink by mouth. My whole digestive tract was raw. I became diabetic. I was on insulin for a short time. My joints flared up. I had joint pain throughout my body, menopausal issues. My heart would race, terrible anxiety attacks. Anyway, I could go on and on. Relive has helped me to control all of those things. It just is incredible, and it's been my prevention for going on 18 years now. And with results like that, we did get involved in the business. Our income went from $12,000 the first year to $20,000 to $30,000 to $50,000 our fourth year. We've earned as much as $80,000 a year. It's gotten us through raising 4 kids, which kids are expensive, especially if you want to help them get through college without debt. So we are eternally grateful for the products and the business, and it's just been a wonderful experience.
Fantastic. What a story, Terry. And you've been cancer-free for 18 years now?
Yes, I have, and just had a recent colonoscopy, and I've been cleared for 5 years, which is the longest I've been cleared this whole time. So my doctor was thrilled with the blood work and the colonoscopy results.
Fantastic. Well, I know you have many, many, many decades in front of you to keep sharing that story. So it was great to have you on and sharing your story. Thank you so much, Terry.
You're welcome.
And because Terry went into the business and started sharing with that, it led eventually to somebody named Bonnie Grubb. I haven't met Bonnie. This is the first time I'm hearing your story. But Bonnie, I believe it was your dad that had prostate cancer, and I've heard that you have an incredible story in your family. So if you could get on and introduce yourself and share what happened, it'd be great to hear your story. Are you there, Bonnie? If you are muted, you can push *6 and that will unmute you. Okay, what I'll do is
Well, I am Cliff Bachman. I'm an engineer with an information technology background. My wife, Beth, has a background in physical therapy and as an athletic trainer. We live in St. Louis with our 4 children, and we've homeschooled all 4 of them. Our first introduction to Reliv was at the international conference that the company does every summer, and that year it was right in our own backyard in 2003. We were there to be polite, but we were there to say no, and we were going to do that just as politely and consistently as we could. But we heard stories like folks are hearing on this call this afternoon, and I'm forever grateful that we didn't do what we intended to do, because one of the most significant things I've done in the past decade, my wife and I decided to do this as a family. And I took the products, and our 4 kids took the products, and my wife took the products. And about 2.5 years of faithful and consistent use of the Reliv products, I like to tell people I got my wife back. And I say that because prior to Reliv, Beth struggled with frequent and intense migraines and severe digestive problems that required her to be on a very strict food rotation diet. She dealt with that for most of her adult life, but about the time that we were introduced to Reliv, her OBGYN diagnosed her with full-blown osteoporosis, and that was primarily due to malabsorption problems. She got started on the products, and like I said, it didn't happen overnight. But about 2 years into the products, her migraines were almost a thing of the past. Her digestive problems were greatly improved, and she was actually able to reverse her osteoporosis with no medication whatsoever. And every member of our family has gotten great health results with Reliv. But I was never more thankful for these products than when I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer in January of 2009. I was experiencing some shortness of breath, and that prompted my doctor to order a chest x-ray. A large mass was discovered, and at that point they ordered a CAT scan, and they did a surgical biopsy. And since there was evidence of it on both sides of my diaphragm, the label I got was stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that was not good news. The treatment program that they recommended for me is called RCHOP, and it's considered strong chemotherapy. RCHOP is an acronym. The R stands for Rituxan, and along with that, they give you Cytoxan, Adriamycin, vincristine, and prednisone. It is a wicked combination of drugs. The first round of chemotherapy was on January 22nd, and I took Reliv the entire time that I was on chemotherapy. I even took it on the days when I went in to receive my infusions. And I mention that because it would have been very difficult for me to do that by myself. Beth would mix my shakes for me and hand me one about every 2 hours while I was receiving those treatments. And we did that because I felt I needed to get just as much good nutrition into my body as I could while I was receiving chemotherapy through my infusions. But Joni, it all paid off because 3 months later, on April 17, 2009, my oncologist told me that a second PET scan revealed no cancerous activity whatsoever. So I went from stage 3 lymphoma to being declared cancer-free and in full remission in just under 90 days. And the Reliv products played a huge part in my recovery. I've been in remission now for over 6 years, and there isn't a day that goes by that we don't thank God for the Reliv products and the company that manufactures and distributes them. But as good as our health results have been, we didn't wait to get our best results before we began to share this blessing with other people. Beth and I realized over 10 years ago that we had our hands on something truly phenomenal. In our first month in business, the company sent us a check for $127. We watched that double our second month, and then it doubled again our third month by helping somebody else duplicate what we had already done. To our amazement, that $500 a month doubled to $1,000 a month, and we were absolutely astonished when it doubled again. In a calendar month, Beth and I have earned over $2,500 in 4 different forms of income that Relive offers. And I mention that simply because I was still working about 50 hours a week for a Fortune 500 company here in St. Louis. But that additional income gave my wife the freedom to walk away from her career as a physical therapist to homeschool all 4 of our children. We've made a profit in our business every single month for over a decade, and we're more excited now than we were 10 years ago. My goal today is to help 1,000 cancer patients boost their immune systems and balance their pH to give their bodies a fighting chance. So they have the opportunity to do what I did, and that's transition from cancer patient to cancer survivor, to help these folks get into remission, and just as importantly, to help them stay in remission. And when that happens, when we help 1,000 cancer patients get into remission and stay there, we will have financial security as well as the time freedom to help even more people. Joni, the bottom line is Beth and I will be sharing Relive with others as long as the good Lord gives us breath.
Wow, Cliff, that is just absolutely an incredible story. And like I said, to look at you, you look like the healthiest guy in the world, truly. And I'm just so grateful that Relive came into your life and that it was able to do what it does. So that, thank you so much for sharing your story. That's really amazing. Really amazing. Thank you. I'm going to check one more time to see if Bonnie is on the line. Bonnie, are you there? No, we'll catch her on another time. But what I'd like to do now is I'd like to go over to York, England, to my best friend. She's my best friend. She's my mentor in Relive. And because of her, my husband and I have been able to help a world of people with these products. She helped me. We help them, and it's really amazing. Now, her name is Leslie Probart, and a few years ago, Leslie actually thought she might lose her nose. So, Leslie, if you want to share what happened to you, I think it would be great for everybody to hear your story.
Yeah, sure, Joni. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly, yep.
Well, hi, everybody. It's my day off today. Joni was hosting the call because she's done just such a brilliant job getting all these wonderful stories on the call. But I'm happy to share what happened for me. Way back in my teenage years, I lived in the tropics, and I'm very fair-skinned. For those of you who know me, I'm very fair-skinned and blonde-haired, so I was a candidate for skin cancer. There was no such thing as sunscreens in those days. You just got sunburnt and put some calamine lotion on. And I lived abroad for several years and got consistently sunburnt. And I knew that I would be a candidate for skin cancer, but I never thought it was going to come because the time came and went. I started taking Relive in the year 2000, and that was about the time that it would have been the last time that it would have popped up if it was going to. I took the shakes consistently. I had some great results with all other issues. But in 2009, I started to work the business internationally. The lady I was working with is on this line. And I got a bit sloppy, and it was my fault. I just didn't always take my second shake. And on November the 9th, 2009, I was diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma in 2 places on my nose. And the oncologist that I went to see just wanted to cut my nose, and they were going to take half my nose away. So I reached out to my mentors who connected me up with so many stories, just like you're hearing today. And the common denominator of all the people that were either coping with cancer, getting over cancer, had been diagnosed like me, all sorts of different cancers, was that they took 6 big shakes a day. So I decided on that day, that same day that I was diagnosed, that was what I would do. So through caution to the wind, I was taking 6 triple shakes of classic with Energize and Fiber Store, and I managed to get hold of some Reverse Age as well, so I was taking that too. And I took those products faithfully by December the 21st, 2009, so just a few weeks later. They couldn't find the cancer cells on my nose, but they still wanted to cut it away because that's what they do. And I took an individual decision to walk, and I took a second opinion. I went to a new oncologist who was nutrition friendly. He monitored my nose for 2 years. So November 2011, he signed me off. I had no treatment whatsoever. My skin is clear. And every time I pass the mirror, I just see the value of Relive, never the cost. So for me, it taught me a lesson never to get sloppy about taking your shakes. And I'm just so grateful to my mentors, Joe and Carol Felger, and to everybody who shared with me so willingly that day. It was a big landmark day in my life, and my cancer was very, very minor in the big scheme of things, but to lose half your nose was not something I was contemplating. By the way, I'm now 68, nearly 69, and I just feel about 35, 40. I am so well that I just will take Relive for the rest of my life and share it with everybody too, because building this business is something that we just feel obliged to do, and it's something we love doing. As my husband always says, retire? How could we retire? We're not tired anymore.
Leslie, thank you so much for sharing your story. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what life would be like without a nose. And if I recall correctly, I believe you had a doctor who said to you at that point, correct me if I'm wrong, you're 64, don't be so vain. You don't have to worry if your nose is gone, exactly. Which is appalling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So just an incredible story. Relive does not claim to make any cures, but what happens is when you put the best nutrition in your body knows what to do to start to heal itself. The key is to be consistent and persistent, and it just can change an entire life, just as you've heard. This has been a fabulous call. I really want to thank my speakers, Marcia Jantz, Terry Darrow, Cliff Bachman, and Leslie Probart. Thank you for sharing